Ladies and gentlemen, friends from the APO member countries and all around the world, greetings from the Asian Productivity Organization Secretariat in Tokyo, Japan. The APO is the leading intergovernmental organization promoting productivity, fostering innovation, and improving competitiveness among its 21 member countries in the Asia Pacific, with our headquarters secretariat based in Tokyo, Japan. So welcome to today's APO Productivity Talk, where we get up close and personal with one of the most influential technopreneurs in the Kingdom of Cambodia, Mr. Thul Rithy. Richie is the founder and CEO of KOOMPI, which brings positive changes to the youth, children, and women in the less privileged communities of Cambodia through digital technologies. With KOOMPI Laptop, young people, children, and women can now have access to MacBook Air-like sleek, lightweight, next-generation laptops offering a very robust experience with equally powerful open-source software. As a multipurpose enabler, Richie also seeks to empower the next generation of Cambodian youths as the creators and innovators of tomorrow. Training courses are offered to such youths to equip them with the software and computer programming skills so that they not only survive, but thrive in the digital economy. So before we go further, here is a short video on the powerful features of KOOMPI. Intel Celeron processor, 8 GB RAM, 128 GB SSD with 8 hours of battery life and weighing only 1.3 kilograms, and all for the price of $369 US dollars. So 1/3 the price of the cheapest MacBook Air in the market today. So let's take a look at the video and let's understand some of the features of KOOMPI laptops. As we can see from the KOOMPI laptop, it is not only powerful in terms of the hardware, but also in terms of the software. There is open source, open suite, free internet browsers, media players, and programming environment for the likes of Python, Go, Bash, and also the future of object-oriented functional programming language called Clojure. So Thul Rithy has launched Cambodia's first locally designed and marketed laptop. He has this dream of revolutionizing education in Cambodia with a plan to bring KOOMPI computers to every high school in Cambodia and structured learning programs to more than 1.73 million students. So he initially targets that students that have never touched a computer will be able to do computer programming and feel confident in this digital economy. So in this digital age, how do we build an inclusive digital workforce? We will find out more from Richie. So Richie, my friend, now the floor is yours for you to share some of the strategies on how to build an inclusive and digitally capable workforce, starting from Cambodia and then beyond all around the world. The floor is yours, Richie. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Josh. Wow, I would like you to work at KOOMPI.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because you know a lot about KOOMPI than most of the people that work at KOOMPI. Yeah, so anyway, without further ado, let's go to the topic. Again, thank you very much for having me at the APO Productivity Talk. Let me go.
It's our honor.
Yeah, let me go to the slide. Go to my slide. So the topic today is about building an inclusive and digital capable workforce. This is obviously the very large, big topic. We do not hope to cover everything. This is just part of the working together process, and KOOMPI very luckily be part of this building process. So I'd like to start with a quote. if we want to build the future, we can always learn from the past, but we cannot always live in the past while trying to build the future. And this is where KOOMPI and the work that we do here is based on. The topic that we'll cover today, I'll share a little bit about myself and why we do the work that we do today at KOOMPI, and a little bit of detail about KOOMPI and the process of how we can participate in building the digital workforce for the new generations, and some of the future project, or one of the future project that or I work as my side project, and then leave that for the Q&A after. So currently I work for these 3 companies. I start them all with friends and partner from Small World initially. Small World started in 2011. Aim to work with a lot of young people, and while we work with young people, we know that they need tools, and I always in love with the computer, internet, and things around it. So have been working with Linux for a long time. Then this is how we started KOOMPI, and in the process of doing the 2 company, I always take the time to go to the mountains, enjoy times off from the city, and then have an idea about having Small World and KOOMPI and other people's office, other startup office in the jungle, and work with the jungle, work together in the jungle, and absorb the nature. And this is what how Vitamin Air come about. Vitamin Air aim to be the pilot to reforestation, 100 hectare at a time. We say 100 hectare is because we bought 100 hectares about 3 years ago, and want to use the technology we work at KOOMPI, and gather people that we gather at Small World to try to pilot the reforestation there. So I started off from a countryside where about 17 years of my life was spent on islands, and the only time that I get out on island is when I go to a high school and secondary school and high school. And about after high school, I asked my parents to come to learn and pursue my education in Phnom Penh. And coming to Phnom Penh was very big eye-opening, where I could learn so many things that I did not know before, like textbook. I could only know what textbook provided to me, but I never know what a library was. There was some library, but there was no really a library. And the biggest one that I found was internet. It has so much in there that I could learn for a whole life and never complete. And that's lead to all the work that we do and at KOOMPI and at Small World. And with the eye openings from the internet, it allowed me to learn and dream a lot bigger. Work not just for Cambodia, but work for the whole humanity. This is something that sounds like very big ego, and I hope people don't see that. It's about the world today is not Cambodia as Cambodia, border with Thailand, Vietnam, and Laos. We are border with any country that we can talk to through the internet. So our dream is to connect Cambodia and the Cambodians and other youth in the world together, so that the globalization is more open and transparent. So because today is about building, today's topic is about building the digital workforce, I'd like to share more about KOOMPI because this is more relevant to that. Our visions is to build tools and provide other resources to the next generation of innovator. And how we do that is we start with 2 things. One is a hardware and a software inside. We could always spend money to build hardware in China. As long as we have money, we can build this kind of hardware. But it's very hard to have a hardware that works with the software that's customized and prepare for the right group of audience. KOOMPI is working tirelessly, KOOMPI team, both building software and hardware to work together. we do not claim that everything here is built by ourselves. We build on the open source and the open source philosophy, where we also want the young people to stand on the open source and benefit from it and get used for their own purpose. We do not know what the young people will build, but if they stand on a shoulder of a giant, they would build a lot of good things. If we look at the market, KOOMPI, normally when people look at KOOMPI, they look at, KOOMPI is a Cambodia-based company, but we look at ourselves as a global company. We look at the market from Southeast Asia, South Asia, Africa, and all of this together, we could see that more than 3 billion people are in this area alone. And out of those, there are about 1.8 billion people will need to use computer. They obviously can use phones and tablet and all of that, but in order for anyone to be a creator, to create something more effectively, I believe most people will agree with me that computer with full keyboard or a Microsoft Surface style with keyboard is still the way to go. Touchscreen keyboard is very good and all of that, very mobile, but it still has limitation. Example, yesterday there was a 9-year-old kid and their parent came to buy one KOOMPI. They had a tablet, they had iPad, but there's something that limit in there. Obviously, every device has their limitation, but when it comes to education, do creativity work, without keyboard is still difficult, except if you do drawing on a touch screen. That's still very good. So when we look at those big market, we could see about, if we only see 1.5% of the total market addressable, it would be around 27 to 30 million people. And these are people that will need to use the computer. They are at 10 years old, 15 years old today, and they will need to use a computer. We say that not that KOOMPI will want to own this market, but we hope that more people that will build this open source based device would want to build for this market, and so that more people can have access to an open source based device and open source software. And we stand on this mission firmly that we only build a tool for the next generation of engineer. If thing that we do here that is not indicate that it's going to be a tool for the next engineer, we will have to redo our work or start with something else. But luckily, we start with the software based on Linux. This is very flexible. We can do a lot more work on that. We can design mobile, we can design everything else. So we will stick there for a long time. One of the things that we hold behind KOOMPI, beside what people see, people only see us as a computer company like any other company that build computer, sell computer, make money. It past that. Obviously, as a company, we need to make money, but we need to see a higher purpose, and our higher purpose is tied to the missions. We want students to have access to computer, and obviously to be able to learn anything with computer, they have to learn with their own personal computer they hold every day. And so one of our initiatives is to pick up from one laptop per child has done 10 years ago, is that to provide one notebook computer for every student, at least start from Cambodia. This is an unlikely impossible, a mission impossible, but who knows if we can provide 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 people, student at a time, then maybe 3-4 years from now, it can be exponentially grows to the needs of those students. And maybe at the computer maker will make this kind of computer that accessed by those students too. If more people make this, then our missions is accomplished. As long as students have access to computer and the computer that are allowed to be installed, anything they want to install based on the open source, then this is our missions complete. One more thing we want to participate in is the one school, one lab. We see that a lot of school has a lab, but most of the lab do not really have a process on how to learn computer besides learning Office suite like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and all of that. Those are very necessary for now, but 10 years from now, we might not have the Office application as what we use today. There might be a one suite to do everything as a workspace. Many other big technology company already explore workspace that cover everything in one office, do not need to use an office as we know now. So if we teach our students what we do know, then we actually limit them for what they can do in the future. So this lab that we want to be is to just equip a Linux-based software. Hardware we don't really care, but if since we work at KOOMPI, we want to provide a Linux-based KOOMPI based on Linux that KOOMPI OS is built, so it's easy to customize for more teacher, more student, and then provide them with more ability to learn and self-learn, so that they can be more independent and not really rely on the people. Part of the initiative is that even though we have the computer and the lab, if we do not have the internet, free internet, we will not be able to access to those people will not be able to have access to the giant library that I used to have. And so part of that is the effort of KOOMPI now is to try to find a way to build a internet that will be accessed by everyone. We look at the mesh network Wi-Fi that people can go anywhere and connect Wi-Fi everywhere. This is a long way to go, but we are in the process of testing this model in the vitamin air locations and the location where there's not much internet. Mesh network I would like to explain a bit more. Mesh network is to create a local internet network where local participants or local user can have access to those local storage contents where they don't have to spend money on data to get the internet from the upper link. So this way we can make internet more faster and accessible by a lot more people. With the KOOMPI lab and the lessons, the internet and the KOOMPI, we still see one issue. When we give the computer or any computer to anyone, when I say we, it's not we. Throughout the past, there are a lot of organizations give computer to school, give computer to student, but students do not really learn very much because giving something is not really the solutions. So we go further than that by hiring graduated or personally computer enthusiast people to join us as a facilitator or a KOOMPI educator, where they go to school, go to work with the student at the school that we partner with, and help transfer the knowledge that we have at KOOMPI and learn from the internet to school teachers and students that we partner. And hopefully, the more lab we start, the more facilitator we can hire and send to those schools, the more we could transfer the knowledge. And because even school do not really have Wi-Fi for students, we were asked by some school teacher at some of our school partner to build a Wi-Fi network, mesh network still for those school that do not have internet inside the whole school, but only in the lab. But some labs still don't have internet, so we start with the lab with internet first. With the KOOMPI One Lab, One School, we look at a pilot for KOOMPI Academy. The KOOMPI Academy come with the teacher or facilitator. So our facilitator curated content online, everything that already taught and created, published on YouTube and other internet platform. We bring them and make into a learning lesson plan platform, lesson plan way, so that student can go and learn without distractions and follow the topic all the way to the end. And so far, we have partnered with 10, 11 school or so. By the end of this year, we hope, but because of COVID, well, our plan has changed a little. We want to partner with around 20 to 30 student teachers, schools, both private, NGO based or public school, and hope to bring about 100,000 students up to use this lab, because each school has about 1,000 to 3,000. Some school has 7,000 students. We hope that those students have access to use the computer with the open source software base. And this is more about how we build the lab more than just build the hardware. Build a lab that provide resources to those who may not heard or may not be able to use this kind of software before, to use this software. And so KOOMPI is more than just a product, more than just a laptop. It's more about transferring knowledge and stand on the mission where we build the technology as a tool and provide other resources and network to more people, so that some of the young people now could become the next generation of innovator. They solve different problems. Maybe some of them will be the one who will take us to the moon, or some of them who will be the one who find the new vaccination for the next pandemic. We never know when the pandemic start again, the new pandemic start again. But if we can allow our next generation to learn based on their curiosity, they would be someone that we become to be someone that we never thought they could be. This is KOOMPI, and the side project that take about 20% of my time, 25% of my time, is vitamin air. It doesn't matter how much technology we want, if the world is ending, if the global warming is hitting us a lot, then the technology we build, the progress we create will not be sustained. It will be destroyed by a natural disaster. Part of the contribution there is to start this reforestation and alternative natural farming. There's a lot of farming going on in the world, but not very sustainable practice. And we want to see if we could do, for example, at Vitamin Air, we have 110 hectares. 80% of that would be reforestation. 15% will be practice natural farming. Some farming activity that hopefully to create enough yield to provide to the needs of the people, if we farm for 100 hectares. And then because of that natural resources, we see we could integrate into ecotourism, so that it educate more people to do so, to learn, and then maybe do one of their own, replicate elsewhere. And this, in order to do the reforestation more effectively, we hope to use some technology to influence. For example, seed bomb. There can be a drone that fly over the surface of the soil where there's less forest, and then drop the seed, explode, and then give the seed to everywhere, and then they could just grow on its own naturally. But we have to help this, because wherever the forest has cut, massively cut, the lands seem to be drier than the forest that has the forest. So we learn from the Israeli technology, where they have a device that capture water molecule from thin air and make into water drinkable. We thought we could capture this water and then water the field or where the forest is being reforested. This way, we do not have to use too much energy or power to reforest bigger land. So these are the way we see, and we use blockchain-based technology to tokenize natural resources so that more people can participate and see the benefits, join the benefits. And in the future, we hope to participate in carbon trading CO2 program. I don't know how this technology or this industry is count, but this day, not much popularity in this CO2 program. But in the future, I think the CO2 carbon neutral program will be very very popular. And we do not do this for the money sakes, but if we could inspire people from cutting tree to make money to plant trees to make money and generate income, then this is going to be a very successful for human in general, for the whole human race in general. And because we want people to understand technology and understand about the universe and go to space, there are so much going on in space that we could leave the Earth for what it is, so that human can live and then mine everything up in space for what we need. That would be the success for the whole human race in general. And with that, I would like to finish my slide from here, and I will take the questions.
Rithy, thank you so much. This is really interesting. Perhaps instead of just calling you one of the top technopreneurs in the Kingdom of Cambodia, we can also consider you as a technical social entrepreneur in the Kingdom of Cambodia. I realized several things came up to me during your presentation. Not only are you looking at providing the necessary digital tools to build an inclusive, digitally savvy workforce for Cambodia and beyond, you also work on smart agriculture using the latest agricultural digital technologies. And you are also tampering into blockchain as well as free software computer programming. I thought all these things are actually very relevant for countries within the APO region, and which is why it is an inspiration to get you to come over to talk at the APO Productivity Talk. So allow me right now to ask you a few questions from the floor. There are some viewers who know you, and they have actually sent their regards to you. And I have a question right now. I think this question is actually from Mr. Eddie Lee. Mr. Eddie Lee is from Singapore, and he asks, if your KOOMPI laptop is running on Linux, I assume that students can still have similar access to perhaps Microsoft Word and Excel via Google Word and Sheet. Do you have any thoughts with regards to the Wi-Fi connectivity when it comes to using KOOMPI laptops? Is there any views from you?
So Linux is not only for online. When people see Linux, heard about Linux, they may thought about Google Chrome, and Google Chrome is not obviously complete Linux. Google Chrome based on Linux, but it's Google product. All you use Google Chrome. I'm not fighting Google Chrome. We use a lot of Google product, but if you use Google Chrome or Chromebook, not Google Chrome, sorry, Chromebook, then most of the thing you access is a Google product. So then it requires internet all the time in order to access to the device or document you use. But lately, Chromebook has turned to more offline. So Linux is not very different from there. What we use, which called KOOMPI OS. KOOMPI OS is derived from the Linux, and then customize the desktop based on KDE and the toolkits of Qt. This allowed to make the desktop very friendly to use for a lot of people that willing to shift and try out for about a week or two in order to understand what is the difference. But in terms of like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, there are alternatives like LibreOffice. Lately, we've been working with a school in Phnom Penh. They are now looking to change from the current platform, which is Windows-based, license-based, to open source space, and their teacher was so scared first. And yesterday I called with the principal. He said one of the teacher requests to use KOOMPI because LibreOffice for math type is very convenient. So
I see.
Student will have access to the offline alternative to Microsoft Office Suite and other design, let's say Adobe. There are some applications like GIMP. So many applications on the open source now, almost beside the user interface that is not too sleek like the Microsoft, they have very much, pretty much similar in many ways. And what we want user to do is that to be independent, to know that what they have is a tool. It's like a knife. You can kill people or you can cut fruits. The computer they have and the software they have inside is for them to use for whatever they want to accomplish. They do not need to have a computer like Microsoft Office in order to do office work. They can have any other office suite to do the office work, as long as they have enough curiosity, enough flexibility, and enough drive to learn something a bit newer. So obviously, you do not need to have access to those Microsoft things, but if they want to, they can install Microsoft Word on KOOMPI, just no license.
Yes. So right now we are operating on this Linux-based operating system. It's called Krama OS, right? Yeah, because I was looking at your specifications, and Krama OS is based out of Linux operating system, and it's still very versatile as any other Linux software.
Yeah.
So the next
we rename it to KOOMPI OS. We rename it to KOOMPI OS, so that it's easier for people that is not in Cambodia to know, like KOOMPI and the OS that run on KOOMPI is KOOMPI OS. That is easier. So we found that after a year.
I see. Yeah, I have another private question right now. It relates back to agriculture. We understand that a lot of youth, they can still work in the farms in countries with very rich agricultural resources. And one such agricultural resource-rich country would include the Kingdom of Cambodia. So some people may ask, so why do we still need to learn about digital technologies and computer programming? So what are your views? Since the youth, they can still work in the farms to eke out a living, so why is there a need for them to learn about software and computer programming and to upgrade themselves when there are so much agricultural resources available?
A lot of the world, we cannot actually live without stuff that come out of the farm, like either farm meat or farm fruit or farm vegetable. So we can't always live. We cannot escape the farm. But the farm we have been doing in the last 100 years, especially in the last 20, 30 years, is not sustainable. We use too much chemical. We don't really educate our farmer to do a more productive way to get more yield but less harm to the earth, number one, and less harm to the people who consume it. With the technology and the know-how and the young people that have the ability to do more creative farming, more productivity with farming, then we will never be able to feed the people the way we feed before. The population will exceed 9 billion, 10 billion people in 2050. So if we farm the way we farm, we will never be feeding enough, and there'll be a lot of people go in hunger. But saying that, I think because of greed, then we cannot feed enough people. If we have if we could complete our needs more, then we could share more to other people. To give you a specific answer to this is that the farm in the world, as well as Cambodia, will not be the farm before. Before we have 100 people, 100 family, there will be 100 farm, small farm. But soon into the future, we already learn in the West and in the developed world, technology make farm more effectively with less people. And so the leftover people that do not work on a farm can do other things that creative can do anything that more value added to the society. So I believe that farm is still a relevant thing for human consumptions and human progress, but we need to not look at the farm the way we have done in the last 100 years, and especially in the last 30 years, and allow more young people to encourage them to use technology and gain traction, gain productivity through technology, and do things more than just the farm that we used to farm.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rithy bro. I have another very good question, this time from Sri Lanka. From Sri Lanka, Mr. Tanuksha was asking, I think KOOMPI is an excellent benchmark for social technopreneurs. Once you started, may I ask what is the most challenging aspect? Is it really the money, the infrastructure, or the mindset of the people? So how did you overcome such obstacles? I think this is a very good question so that we can also learn from you.
Well, we do not really overcome this obstacle yet. And the two biggest obstacle for now is the mindset. People don't really people don't have much flexibility, especially those who already have used. For example, I'm not talking about how bad Microsoft is. Microsoft is very good. Because of Microsoft, we have a lot of things that we do today. Apple is very good. They started so good. The vision is so good that everyone should have one computer. Right now, we have one computer, which is smartphone. Every smartphone is a computer itself. But a lot of the time, people who use this computer, the smartphone, they only consume information, which when you consume, you are not productive. So this is one thing that is very important. A lot of kids have access to smartphone. They can consume, they can input a little bit of their knowledge, they can learn a lot, but they cannot be very productive in there. So to overcome this, actually, we have to, our strategy has been find the first 1,000 KOOMPI lover and support them and change and actually see the process of how they change. Some people bought KOOMPI because they want to support our product, and we say, no, don't buy KOOMPI because you want to support. Buy KOOMPI if you can think of where you can use it productively and useful for your life. This is our message for our user. Because otherwise they can go and buy things buy from other computer maker. There are a lot of computer out there, but what we provide is the freedom based with the computer, with the open source software. And one more thing that is very difficult to challenge is the use. They got used to, for example, since they start using computer, if they are 20, let's say 25 years old, they use computer at that 18 years old, then they have used computer for 7 years. These 7 years, they've been using Microsoft-based, proprietary-based computer, but then when they talk about computer, they say, computer is difficult, KOOMPI is very difficult to use because it's not the same as Microsoft, this and that. And we thought like, they've been using this computer for about, let's say, 6-7 years. They don't even start to use KOOMPI for 7 days, and they compare to their experience for 7 years. This is the thing that we find it very difficult to challenge, is that people do not really give themselves a chance to try something really new. We don't say that what we do is very, very good. We just say that this is another option for you. We're not open source based, and we committed to not lock anyone into the system. So people don't really offer themselves enough chance to try something new, and this is the biggest challenge we need to overcome. But because our target audience, target user, those users are young people, like 10 years old to 15, 17 years old, those are the majority of users. We don't really invest too much time now. In the first year, we invest so much time in changing people's mindset. But I said, okay, we do not need to convert people from using Windows or Mac to use KOOMPI. No such effort will be giving anyone's good benefits. No KOOMPI will have good benefit, no user will get good benefit because they have what they want to do. We need to just focus on the user that will use KOOMPI more effectively, which is the young people. Yesterday, this 9-year-old boy, he just got to use KOOMPI right there, no asking for anything. His dad and his mom didn't know what to ask. He said, whatever you want to learn is in there. Typing, coding, learning from every website. Some website though is not available on Linux yet, especially on KOOMPI yet. But we are binding those applications one by one, put on our app store. Eventually, I think in 6 months we will have our own more friendly user interface app store, so that every user can just install the app there.
Awesome. Right now, I have a string of very interesting questions, and I will try to synthesize and crystallize their questions into one combined question. So if you are ready, Rithy, let me allow you to get a chance to answer this combined question. And one is from Malaysia, from Dr. Goh Chi Siong. The other one is from Singapore, Dr. Colin Gan. And the third one is from the Republic of Korea, Mr. Daniel Kim. And right now, Dr. Goh Chi Siong is asking, all the digital social innovations that you have come up with to improve and to build a digitally inclusive workforce, such as KOOMPI Wi-Fi, free KOOMPI laptop for every student, and KOOMPI for young adults at a cheap price of $369 and even lower, is good. But how do you disseminate and promote this initiative as far as possible so that all the young adults and the youth, they can get together to constitute a strong digital workforce for Cambodia? And Dr. Colin Gan from Singapore also has a similar question. You have a very wonderful effort that we want to replicate. How can we replicate this digital social innovations across the entire ASEAN region? For those readers who are not sure what is ASEAN, ASEAN stands for Association of Southeast Asian Nations, of which Cambodia is one of them. So how can we replicate these concepts that you have across the entire ASEAN region so that we can nurture digital technology talents for the future? And Mr. Daniel Kim would like to also ask how you can address the digital divide in Cambodia. Because in Cambodia, there are some less privileged communities, their internet connection is really poor. And perhaps they don't even have the wherewithal and the money to buy even the cheapest KOOMPI laptop, even if it's $250 only. So Dr. Goh is asking how we can promote all your social digital innovations ideas as far as possible to build a strong digital workforce. Dr. Colin Gan was asking how can we replicate this across the entire ASEAN region so that we can build this digital workforce. And Mr. Daniel Kim is asking how can we address the inherent digital divide in Cambodia? So the floor is yours.
There's a lot of questions. Let me go one by one. So KOOMPI started with this device that sell at $350, $360. This is not the device. I'm very proud to say it's affordable by everyone. Obviously, we have to start somewhere. But at the moment, what we're focusing on, since we learned from this problem that we passed in the last year and a half, is that our goal is the young people that will be the one who determine the future that we will live in.
Right. Right.
So they are the one who we want to have access to this computer. I mean, when I say this computer, it's a computer that runs solely on Linux and Linux-based operating systems or software, free software. And this idea give us this effort, this mission give us a glance on where they are at. Let's say $360 is not cheap for a lot of people. Even the middle class people, they still they still think about which one they want to use, either the current market current market computer or KOOMPI. We don't want this to be compared. We want the computer to be right at their hand when they want it. When they need the computer to use. So, but this is very costly. Nobody has funded us to do this kind of thing yet. We want to make, at the moment, we are making a 4G laptop, 4G notebooks. that is 11-inch, size of a tablet with a keyboard. Basically, it's we're about to launch this website with the product. I think if you want to see it in 2 weeks, go to KOOMPI.com. You'll see this new device. But this is not a 4G yet, because we still based on Intel. But at the moment, team is working on redesign of a board, PCB board, to use ARM-based technology like a tablet and smartphone, where we can add 4G module, so they can add SIM card and receive internet. I will come to the internet later. So this laptop will have 4G and access to internet freely anywhere they want, like a smartphone, and has a call functionality too. And because it is a low power CPU, the battery is equal to the laptop, then we could expand the battery life from like 8 hours to maybe 20-30 hours. This will be giving more accessibility to people who are outside of the electricity that they need. Basically, those who live in a rural area that do not have electric grid, just have some solar, they can charge and then use for 30 hours. 30 hours is about 3 days of use. So one charge lasts for 3 days. One more thing we are working on is the case, KOOMPI case, where the case is covered by solar cell. The solar cell itself will be charging the computer whenever they put on in the sun, and come with a small power bank. So this is the thing we're trying to address. We are not there yet, but we are building it little by little. Hopefully within 3 to 6 months, we have different alternative for user. When it comes to internet, this is a big challenge for everyone everywhere. What we try to do is to bring an uplink internet from the city or nearby town to a village, and then build a mesh network device where they can share internet locally, and then only internet that they need that not stored locally will have to go out through an uplink to get data. So that, because if we only focus on the learning, then we can store, let's say, 10 terabit of data that most people who use in that area can just use. So this is our solution for now. We have not yet implemented in real life yet, but at Vitamin Air Village we have 80 family, and we are in the process of testing this. I think within the 6 months we would love to include this network into our village, and allow people in the village to access the internet. This will answer to the digital divide in Cambodia and most part of the world that has this problem. How we could replicate KOOMPI to ASEAN? Obviously, we look at KOOMPI has a long-term goal, and our global goal is not just Cambodia, obviously Southeast Asia, South Asia, and Africa. Those are the location where lots of young people, like in Cambodia, are the majority of the population of the country. So we would like those young people to have access to this device, but we do not really want KOOMPI to just be everywhere. If any partner, any computer maker in those region or in those areas to work with KOOMPI, expand or have the same mission like us, we would love to know and work together, or somehow support, either through technical support, software, and some other technology know-how support, or we can learn from them even, to expand and speed up this development faster. One important note here is that we're trying to make this computer that I just described upfront, 4G laptop at around $120 below, with 4 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. But 11-inch. Different CPU type. Intel is very expensive, and we do not want to do that. We do not want our user to pay so much because we cannot make it cheaper, lower cost because of Intel. So that's what we are trying to solve.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off a bit. I was just wondering, is there any potential collaborations that you are now having with other similar companies to expand your ideas across ASEAN and also to Africa? So could you share a little bit more according to the question from Dr. Goh Chi Siong and Dr. Colin Gan? Any potential collaboration within ASEAN, and how do you do that? And I understand that you have also expanded into Africa. So could you share with our viewers some strategies that you do that to expand your ideas, your good digital social innovations to beyond Cambodia?
Yeah. So we did not expand to Africa yet. We wish, but we're still too small. So we are exploring this partnership with one of the education company in Africa that look for tablet or 4G tablets with customizable software. We are still in a very early stage discussion. This is in Nigeria. And so far in Cambodia, in Southeast Asia, we only discussed with a friend of a friend that run education, basically IT educations in Myanmar, but we had not pursued this yet because any partnership pursued, we have to invest a lot of our efforts, regardless, money will be one of them, but the time and our team is very limited at the moment. So what we're trying to do now is to expand the team capacity and the productivity in Cambodia, and then find partner in the other region to those who would love to join hand and maybe build a ecosystem or build a hardware with us to bring to their community. We cannot go to every community. We would love to have a partner locally to address. Obviously, we can always remotely support from Cambodia, and we can always send our team there. Like when we talk about Africa, we talk about we need to send 5 of our team to go and train African partner in order to get going, and we also need to secure the transition when we after service, because KOOMPI has this policy, or our motto is that when they buy KOOMPI, they have the device has to work, and if it's not work, we replace a new one. Quality assurance is the thing we do. Obviously, with time limited.
Yes, you are right. Yeah, since we are talking about no youth left behind, I want to put my focus and crystallize our thoughts on how we can actually ensure no youth, no child, no women will be left behind in this post-pandemic digital economy. So I understand that you are also the founder of TED Talks in Cambodia. So you founded something called Kimmer Talks. And this Kimmer Talks has been a very successful thing and impacted the young and the startup community in Cambodia. So can you advise us and share with us how through Kimmer Talks, you motivate the young people towards innovation and startups? And how do you encourage them not to just be happy with traditional jobs, but to gravitate towards high value add digital jobs that can reap them higher value add and higher incomes, and therefore secure their livelihoods and their future?
Well, Khmer Talk is the extension of TED Talks. So about in 2010, I wanted to have something like TED Talk in Cambodia, but TED Talk only allowed English speaking. So the limitation there is that those who do not know English cannot access the knowledge. The process of learning for every human is that we download the informations either through listening, watching, and interacting to our brain and process it. But if you do not understand anything, we can only see. And then if we only see, then there's not much knowledge process. So Khmer Talks started that way. And Khmer Talk aimed to build the Obviously, I'm not very active in there anymore in the last 2-3 years because of the KOOMPI work and small work.
I
Um,
see. I
but
see.
the visions of Khmer Talk is now shift the work into KOOMPI Academy. KOOMPI Academy is taking part of the Khmer Talk initiative to put into its own work where building the knowledge bank so that the knowledge pool so that anyone that want to learn can go and learn from people that share their idea, share what they learn online. And so they don't have to wait to go to school. They can just go. If they have access to the internet, they could just process these informations on their own, and then learn through that. This hopefully contribute to the learning process, the upgrade of their skill, and open up their eyes so that they could maybe find a different path to their value-added career. It's so a lot longer to go though. The road is very far, so we don't know how long we will take to offer the opportunity for mass audience. But through the one computer, one notebook, one student initiative, we hope that by the time we could lower down our smaller laptop, smaller notebook to about $100, then most people should be able to have access to this computer with internet connections. Therefore, everything that collected online that is valuable to learn should be able to consume or learn and contribute back by those who have this device. Then we would have more people that could absorb the knowledge and also contribute back what they learn.
Yes, that's great. That's great. Yeah, thank you so much for the wonderful insights. Because through your sharing, our member countries and our viewers have the chance to know what are some of the strategies that business leaders can do and to work hand in hand with the governments of the day in order to build up the digital capabilities of our young and youth population. We have actually now come towards the end of the APO Productivity Talk, but I also have two more questions from San Francisco as well as San Diego, California. I will leave it offline and I will continue to stay in touch with you, Brother Richie, and we can answer the questions of these two American viewers later on offline. So before we end our APO Productivity Talk, I wish to give the honor of my dear brother, whom I've actually known for 4 years through our past work connections, Mr. Thul Rithy, to say a final few words on how and what is your prospect for the future of the digital workforce in Cambodia and beyond. Any final words, Rithy?
Well, I would just wish that more people understand that the power of open source is enormous. To give a very short brief is that everything we touch, almost even the whole internet infrastructure, is run on Linux, and we hope that more and more people see this power and educate their kids or let their kids or their young generation to get access to this open source as soon as they can, so that they could contribute back to or learn at least about the power of this open source and contribute back to the development of the human progress in general. And in terms of developing this digital workforce in Cambodia, we hope that in the next 2 years to 3 years, we could expand the reach of KOOMPI OS and the KOOMPI's device, one notebook, one student, to about 100 to 200,000 students, so that we have enough people that in the next 3 years to 5 years have become some sort of an engineer. Either they are social engineer or mechanical engineer or software engineer, so that they can help us solve more problem and build better software. What we are doing now at KOOMPI is all self-taught. Anything we want to build, we have to learn through YouTube. We have to learn through research and build it. And this way take a lot of time. But through our learning, through our experience, we could then help shape the way people learn, so it saves more time and more young people can have access to a more guided learning, but still self-directed education. So this way, if we leave the path for our young generation to choose and be flexible for them to decide and just guide them through some door, and we don't have to walk through the door, they have to walk through the door. But most of the time, the way we educate our kids is that we hold their hand, walk through the door with them, whether they like to go through the door, this door or not. We have to think as a whole human progress, and the whole education and learning experience is about going to the enlighten our head, enlighten our mind. It's not every human learn the same way. So we only need to show the door, and they walk through the door themselves if they want to. And if it's wrong, they have to learn from that mistake and then go another one. So a philosophy that Steve Jobs mentioned once was that religion is like different gate to the same temple. Education is the same. The goal of education is to enlighten the mind, increase productivity of one's experience. So either way they learn is up to them. We just need to show them how to go into that. And KOOMPI is trying to be the door and the guide, and not to be the temple. They have to create their own temple. And we hope that more people see this learning process this way. And so we do not intervene our next generation learning experience, so that it become more of a creativity of their own, not because we tell them to do so.
As a matter of fact, your laptop, KOOMPI, is actually the human language for book of knowledge. So we are very happy that you are willing to share this book of knowledge from generations to generations. We have come to the end of the APO Productivity Talk. So SMEs and people and the youth remains our top priority. That principle has always guided us over the last 60 years, including this shift to digital learning platforms, as well as our productivity talks. The APO will continue to host more productivity talks featuring different resource persons and guest speakers, and with the aim of building economic resilience and business continuity. So continue to join us in our future APO Productivity Talks and Top Talks, where we include and feature world-leading experts and industry leaders such as Richie to speak on topics that address the socio-economic prosperity, inclusiveness, and productivity in the APO region. So goodbye, Richie. Until the next time we see you again, stay safe.
Thank you.
Goodbye, viewers. Continue to watch our APO Productivity Talks. Thank you.
Bye-bye.